Cheesecakes are always popular on dessert party spreads, but they're difficult to eat when you're juggling a cocktail and a plate. My mini cheesecakes don't even require a fork. And with a dark chocolate crust and a Nutella swirl, they're the perfect way to serve cheesecake at your next party. In this video, I'll show you how to make it mini. So let's start with the black bottom crust. It's really easy to make using store-bought crisp chocolate cookies. You want to get them nice and pulverized, nice and crushed. I put them in the food processor and just grind them up. If you don't have a food processor, you can put the cookies in a zip-top bag, a heavy-duty one, and then use a heavy skillet or a rolling pin to crush them. So once the cookies are finely ground, we're going to measure out 3/4 of a cup. I'm going to put the 3/4 of a cup of crushed cookies into a medium bowl and add some melted butter. This is about 2 tablespoons. And using a fork, just mix them together until the crumbs are nicely coated with butter. Now let's distribute the crumbs. I've lined the muffin tin with foil liners, foil inside and out. If you use paper, it will stick to the cheesecake. And I've lightly greased them using cooking spray. I'm going to put a tablespoon of crumbs into the bottom of each foil liner. Now we want to press in the cookie crumbs until they're nice and firm. That gives us our black bottom. If you have a tart temper, now's your time to use them. Of course, if you don't have a tart temper, just use a piece of plastic wrap, put it on top of the crumbs, and use your fingers to press down on the crumbs. Keeps your fingers nice and clean. Now we're going to slide the muffin tin into the fridge so the crust firms up, so that when we add the cheesecake, it stays intact. The base of the filling is, well, cream cheese. So I have our cream cheese already in the mixing bowl. It's softened at room temperature, but not super soft. And we're going to beat on medium-high speed until it's nice and fluffy. It's important to stop the mixer and scrape down the sides of the bowl every once in a while. It's also a good way to check to make sure there are no lumps remaining in the cream cheese. Now we're ready to add the sugar. It's just granulated sugar, a pinch of salt, and some vanilla extract. And now we're going to continue to beat on medium-high until it's well blended and very smooth. Before we add the eggs, it's really important to make sure there are absolutely no lumps remaining. This looks great, nice and smooth. We'll add the eggs one at a time. Once we add the eggs, we're only going to blend until incorporated. If we overbeat when we add the eggs, we'll beat more air into it, so the cheesecakes will puff and potentially crack when they're baking. So our vanilla base is all set. We're going to scoop out 1 cup and set it aside. And now to the remainder that's in the mixer, I'm going to add the Nutella. We're going to mix this on low speed because remember, we don't want to overbeat the eggs. Now we're ready to fill the cups. We're going to divide up the Nutella batter between the cups. It's about 1/4 cup per, and I use my handy ice cream scoop, but you can just use a large spoon. You can see that the Nutella batter really almost completely fills the muffin tin, but there's still room for the vanilla. Now I'm going to put 1 tablespoon into each one of the cups. Now let's swirl these 2 batters together. I'm going to use a wooden skewer, but you can also use a toothpick or the tip of a knife. And it's as easy as dragging the skewer through the batters to swirl them. And then I also lift and fold the Nutella batter over the vanilla batter. You don't want to do it too much because you still want nice streaks of both batters. While I'm swirling, I'm being very careful that I just swirl the batters together and don't bring up any of the crust. Now, before these go in the oven, I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to tap the pan on the counter to settle the ingredients. This will also release any air bubbles that can cause cracking. And off we go to the oven. Bake the cheesecakes at 300 degrees until the centers barely jiggle when the pan is nudged. That might seem like they're underdone, but if you wait until the center is completely set, the cheesecakes will be overbaked. Set the muffin tin on a rack and let the cheesecakes cool completely. Now that the cheesecakes are completely cool, I'm going to cover them with plastic wrap and then refrigerate them until they're very cold. If you'd like, you can garnish each cheesecake with a little dollop of whipped cream and a wedge of the cookie you used for the crust.